Hey, what's up everybody? Panick23 here, coming at you with another video featuring Galarian, Stunfisk, and double flyers. However, I had a lot of comments in my last video featuring my 5-0 run saying how I only showed good leads. Now, those 5 battles were from one set, but I wanted to showcase a few different battles here of how I'm able to get out of bad leads. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into these battles. Starting off the first one with Sig Jimbo Slice. Alright, we've got Shadow Machamp, so we're going to swap directly into Pelipper, and the worst possible counter for this Pelipper is Galvantula. Can farm her straight down if they are fast enough, and they're pretty fast. So gonna come back in G-Fisk here. We get the shield, which is nice, and I'm gonna look to come out of this matchup with 100 energy in order to hit back on that Machamp. I'm going to get debuffed a few different times here, and just wanted to note that obviously these battles are sped up 1.5 times. So gonna be moving through these quickly. I do land the Rock Slide, and I'm gonna look to Mud Shot down from this point and potentially EQ the Machamp. Now my opponent makes an interesting play and swaps into the Galarian Stunfisk. I could see why they swapped. They didn't want to get farmed down completely. I'm going to bring out the Tropius. I maybe could have EQ'd the G-Fisk. It would have done a decent amount. I was very debuffed, so I didn't really want to throw it. And I know that the EQ could be very valuable for later. I'm counting the moves, and I realized that I can live this Rock Slide and I can farm down. I want to be careful of my opponent sacking or bringing out the Galvantula here. So I'm going to throw the Leaf Blade into the Machamp, and hopefully I can get the shield. I do get the shield. I pause, I swap out into the Stunfisk, and I EQ, KOing the Machamp, and I'm able to Mud Shot down the Galvantula. So some tricky plays there, some swapping in and out, some banking of energy, some over farming was able to get me out of that bad lead situation. Shadow Machamp, no problem. Alright, jumping into battle number 2. We got a Politoed, so it could be running EQ or Blizzard. We're not going to stick around to find out. We're going to swap directly into Pelipper. Out comes Hypno, which is also a pretty good wall to Pelipper, and it's a Shadow, so the confusions are going to be adding up. I'm going to throw the Weather Ball, and I do get the shield. I want to be careful of my timing because I don't want a confusion to sneak through. I'm going to farm up a little extra and get to 2 Weather Balls. I actually want to CMP them here, and they shield. And at this point I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to double shield or not, but I know I'm not going to get switched, but I want to put this into farm down range for the Galarian Stunfisk. Now the Weather Ball does chip, it gets it into the red. I'm going to come in to my G-Fisk here. I'm thinking about it, but I decided to go into the G-Fisk, realizing that the energy is way more valuable on the G-Fisk. So I take 1 Fire Punch, and I'm going to be able to Mud Shot down. My opponent would get the move there as the confusion ends, but they do not. I throw the EQ into the Politoed. I'm gonna look to catch. They decide not to throw it, so really nice play by them. Out comes an Umbreon, so I do have some play here. I'm gonna look to sneak through some Razor Leafs during the foul plays. I want to try and come out with as much energy as possible in order to potentially hit the Politoed. Now the Politoed does have a Weather Ball stored, and I want to try and KO here and Unfortunately, the Leaf Blade would not KO from that range, so I'm going to now over farm here. Throw here before I get snarled down. And they can't one-shot me down, so I get a couple Razor Leafs in. They farm up to 2 Weather Balls. And I was looking to catch there, but unfortunately it didn't work. And my Stunfisk is able to hang on with 1 HP in a Dream and Rock Slide the Politoed. So IV's playing a really important factor in this match and winning me this game. I did catch this Galarian Stunfisk in the wild, just have 1 attack and about 14 defense and 15 HP. So using all of that bulk in order to win that game. So we got an Obstagoon lead. We're going to switch into Pelipper, which is always going to be our play. Out comes a Jellicent. Now, Jellicent in the back typically doesn't run Bubble Beam, so I'm kind of banking on not getting baited here. And I know that in order to win this matchup, I do need to land a Hurricane or get some shields down in order to, by baiting. So I do decide to bait, and because they weren't quite at the move, I figured they didn't want to die with all this energy. They really wanted swap, and so I double bait, which is a very risky play. Just want to note that these battles are taking place on March 9th. I do go 17 and 8 on this day. And I'm able to get to the Hurricane. I overfarmed by a little bit. Watching the video back, I could have overfarmed just a little bit more. Out comes the Obstagoon. I'm going to CMP here on the Weather Ball. And I will get farmed down, which isn't great. So at this point, I'm trying to think what could be in the back. I'm still not sure because I haven't seen a ton of Obstagoon. I'm thinking it could be another water Pokemon maybe. It's got to be another anti-fighter. So Hypno makes sense. I'm going to build up to the EQ. I'm going to be careful of my timing so I don't get, don't let a confusion run through. And I was really hoping that they weren't running Focus Blast. So at this point, I'm thinking that I don't want to give this Obstagoon too much farm down because I don't want to get gunked on my Tropius, because I wasn't sure exactly how much it does. I do get this Rock Slide, which should just about KO. And I'm trying to swap to my Tropius, but my switch timer isn't quite up. I know that I'm going to get hit by a gunk, but I'm not sure whether this KOs or not, so I'm just praying at this point. And my Tropius has decent IVs from a trade, so I am able to Razor Leaf down. So another fighter lead, no problem. Alright, jumping into game number 4. Let's see our bad lead this time. We've got Meganium, so this is awful for Stunfisk and Pelipper, but I'm going to swap out and pray that they decide to switch out before throwing a Frenzy. They do, they bring in Registeel, so I realize that I can win this matchup. By going straight Weather Balls, the Hurricanes will be resisted. Hurricanes being neutral, so I want to get to the next one without having to shield before. I like to force my opponents to drop shields first, because sometimes I might want to take switch advantage, and I think I was talking in chat, wasn't quite looking, and thought I could overfarm by a little bit. So I overfarm more and decided to throw here. And they don't shield, and I get one more wing attack, so they decide to take shield advantage. They bring their Altaria. I'm trying to get to the Hurricane. Doesn't quite happen. Now I just want to note that if my opponent swaps in Altaria into my Pelipper, I do lose this game, so a little bit of a misplay. Sometimes you just need that luck. Some people just don't know what to swap into Pelipper, so they swap out into the Meganium, and I have Tropius in the back to hard counter the Meganium. So able to flip another bad lead there. Let's get into the 5th and final game. We got Stunfisk and Developer. Now, this matchup can be flipped if I sneak in a mud shot, so you're gonna see me try to sneak one in. My opponent is over farming. I'm not able to sneak one in. I do decide to shield to keep myself healthy. I'll do a couple more mud shots. I throw my rock slide and I see that a wing attack sneaks through. So at this point I know that they are one ahead, and I'm gonna try and look to catch on my Pelipper. However, I'm not able to get out and not catch that weather ball. So I'm gonna throw the rock slide again, and another wing attack comes through. And at this point I realize that I'm so far behind, I just decide to let my G-Fisk go. And I'm gonna bring my Tropius because I don't wanna take the damage on Pelipper. My opponent saves the weather ball, which is a nice play. They swap into their save swap. Now at this point, I'm not entirely sure what could be in the back. I'm thinking it's like a tank to counter, bad leads for Pelipper. That's why I didn't swap there, because I felt that if it was G-Fisk, that Pelipper would have a good matchup. And I do swap out and save the Tropius for that Razor Leaf damage later if I need it. And that couple wing attack advantage will really help me solidify this matchup. The only way I lose this is if my opponent is able to catch, so I'm over farming here, expecting to catch at any point. I do sneak a wing attack through, which is really good for me. It gives me a little bit more breathing room, so I don't have to throw right away. They do sack, which is really nice timing. I almost threw it, but I was in the middle of my wing attack, so I wouldn't have been able to throw. And because I was able to get that another wing attack advantage, I'm able to weather ball the G-Fisk. So as you can see, this team is really, really good at getting out of bad leads. This all happened on March 9th, on a day where I went 17-8. So if I'm not able to flip those matchups, my day quickly goes from 17-8 to 12-13. So from a really, really positive day, it could have been to a negative day if I didn't play all those matchups really properly. So as you can see, I hope this video addressed your concerns about how I'm able to get out of bad leads, and how you will also be able to get out of bad leads using this team. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for your love and support. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.